everyone. My name is Riley Giberson, and I will be your mediator today. And I wanted to start off by going through the steps of mediation. I know this process can be lengthy and confusing, so I find it to be best practice to make sure that everyone's as comfortable as possible and knows what each step is as it happens. If you have any questions during this process, please do not hesitate to stop me and share any questions or concerns. But the first step of this process will be uninterrupted time. Each side will get a chance to share their beliefs, opinions, and concerns about the issues at hand without the interruption from the other party. And I ask that you be as open and candid as possible, because the more information that can be gathered, the better chance we have at coming up with a resolution for these issues. Mediation is an incredible tool where we can discuss all aspects of the issues at hand and some things that you might not be able to talk about in a court of law. I will then be asking clarifying questions to both parties. These questions will help me gather a better understanding of where both parties are and the overarching and underlying issues at play. I will then set an agenda where I have identified the issues and what exactly we are trying to achieve in mediation. You will then negotiate, where you will identify possible solutions and acceptable outcomes. We will do our best to come up with a resolution that is acceptable and fair to all. However, it is not mandatory that we come up with a resolution today. At any point, if I deem it to be appropriate, we will separate into caucuses. Now, this is a private meeting between a party and I, which offers more confidentiality. And anything that you say to me during a caucus is confidential, and I will not share it with the other side unless you guys explicitly give me permission. And as a reminder, I am an impartial and neutral third party. In no way will I impose a decision on either of you today. I'm here to guide and facilitate the negotiations, not make a decision for you or give you legal advice. Coming up with a resolution is up to both of you. Everything that happens here today is confidential. I am not a mandated reporter. Our communications are strictly confidential and cannot be used in a judicial proceeding. You or I cannot be called to testify about the communications that happen herein. Some moments may become frustrating, and there may be a wide range of emotions felt here today, and I ask that you trust me to help you both evaluate all of your options so that everyone can be left in the best position possible. Again, do not hesitate to ask me any questions or to ask for a break if you need one. There's a restroom down the hall, and there's a vending machine where you can get sodas and snacks. I wanted to clarify and make sure that everyone understands that we are not obligated to come to an agreement today. However, if we do sign a resolution, agreement, or contract, this may impact your legal rights and responsibilities. If a resolution fails, the litigation will proceed as normal, as if this mediation never happened. I will now have you both sign an agreement to mediate. Okay, now that we both understand, I would like to start by both parties introducing themselves. And as I said, I'm Riley Giberson. And what is your name?
My name is Casey Frazier.
Casey Frazier. And
Taylor.
I would first like to start with you, Taylor, because you are the one that filed the complaint with animal control.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the beginning of our uninterrupted time. So I'd ask that you tell me what the issue is in your opinion.
Well, it's just a kind of an irritating issue. For starters, I'm a chemistry major, so I'm in school right now. I have ambitions to be in medical school, so I'm trying to study for the MCAT. So there's a lot of studying going on, and I'm very, very sincere about my studies in general. I live in a house, and it's split into apartments. It's my apartment and then 3 other apartments that are included in there with other college students.
Mm-hmm.
And where my apartment is, my bedroom faces Casey's backyard, and there's my window right there. And during the course of all these studies, I just keep hearing the dog barking. They have a dog, it just keeps on barking at all times of the night, so I can't sleep, I can't focus on my studies. It's aggravating, it's frustrating, which I'm sure, as you may know, I mean, there's, with anything, when you're trying to focus on something, there's a certain noise that just keeps on. It kind of drives you crazy, and it's hard to do. And I've tried approaching Casey and them at their house about it, and whoever answered the door, I wasn't familiar with the person because I haven't seen them before, but they just said, "Sorry, the dog's not coming inside," and slammed the door in my face. So I'm at my wit's end with it, and I've tried, I've already contacted animal control and talked to them about it. So I want it resolved. I can't keep studying with that dog barking all the time.
So your issue is that you are worried about having a good environment to ensure that you can study and be as focused and ready for your upcoming school as possible.
Absolutely, that's all it is. I have nothing against dogs in general, but this specific dog just keeps on yapping, and it just drives me crazy. I can't focus.
Okay. Do you have anything that you would like to respond to of what he said?
Well, I didn't even know there was a problem. This is first hearing about it was when we needed to come down here and do a mediation, which I was kind of confused about. I am guessing that you talked to my niece because she's never told me anything about it. I didn't know you had complained about the dog. I didn't know anybody was having a problem with the dog until now.
So this is the first time this issue has been brought to your attention.
Yes,
And what kind of dog do you have?
I have a beagle.
A beagle.
Yes.
Okay. And does your niece live with you full time, or is it just a visit?
Well, she's only supposed to stay for a little bit to help out. Recently, I've been going through some things, and taking care of the dog has been a part of that. So she's just staying for a little bit while she's like in between jobs. But she's gonna be leaving pretty soon. So
Do you have anything that you would like to respond to? That?
Well, how long is pretty soon? Can I ask questions right now? Or?
Yeah. Yes.
How long is pretty soon? Can we define pretty soon? Because I'm trying to study for medical exams and stuff to try to get into medical school, and
well, the dog's not leaving pretty soon. My niece is leaving. She's about to leave and go start a new job, and that's kind of on her schedule.
well, that doesn't really solve the problem as far as the dog, though, does
Yeah.
it?
Well, like I said, I didn't know there was a problem. I wish I would have gotten a letter or something. If you weren't speaking to me, I would have liked to have known something about this.
Well, I apologize. I mean, I did the best I could, and I put my best foot forward, and I came to your house and knocked on the door and talked to whoever was there. So whoever was there, I figured they were, lawfully there, and they'd talk to you about it. So I apologize it took it come to this for us to have the same knowledge, but
How many times did you come try to talk to me about it?
I came once. It was about 10:30 at night, and I knocked on the
Oh.
door when the dog wouldn't stop yapping. But
Well, that's kind of late. But
I know it's late for a dog to be yapping outside. That's what I'm
Well,
getting at
I would
here.
like to cut in here, and it seems that there has been a miscommunication or a lack of communication, and I just wanted to ask you, what does having this dog mean to you? Is there a certain relationship that you have with that dog, or is it like your companion?
yeah, this dog does mean a lot to me, and I'm not getting rid of the dog. I love the dog. He's part of my family. I mean, it's something that means a lot to me, and something that I'm not willing to really let go of. The dog was left to me by my husband. He passed away 2 months ago. So this dog has really been helping me get through that, and I'm still struggling, and I'm trying to do my best to take care of the dog.
So this dog has a lot of sentimental and emotional value to you.
It does. Yes.
And I'm sure that you studying for the MCAT and wanting to go to medical school has a lot of value for you too.
Absolutely. I'm investing a lot of time and my own money into it. I mean, I have a lot hanging on it.
So you are unwilling to, this dog is staying with you. It is important
This dog
to
is
you.
all I have left of my husband. I just don't think that you can understand how that feels and how that would affect you. I just think that that's a really frustrating thing to have come to me right now whenever I'm going through all of this.
This
Well,
hearing,
I just want to start by clarifying here. I don't believe I've ever once said that I want you to get rid of your dog.
Okay.
I don't believe I've ever said that. And first and foremost, I want to send my deepest condolences about your husband. I sincerely apologize for that. And as far as dogs go, I love dogs. I always had a dog growing up, at least one. And we'd take in foster dogs, rescue dogs. So it's not dogs itself that I have a problem with. The problem is I can't study because the dog's barking all night. And I can't sleep. So in return, I can't sleep, then I'm not rested to study. So it's just a
Okay.
vicious cycle.
Okay.
I think that this would be a good time to maybe break into a caucus, to where, reminder, a caucus is a private meeting between me and a party that has a little bit of a higher level of confidentiality. And because I started uninterrupted time with you, I would like to start the caucus with you. So if you could,
You want me to leave the room?
yes.
Yeah, that's
please.
fine.
And I will be back with you as fast as possible.
That sounds great, thank you.
So, Casey, I know that it is difficult to sometimes share things when there is another person that is in the room. And so I wanted to kind of break into a caucus so that you may feel more comfortable sharing more things with me. And reminder, everything that we say is confidential and I will not share unless you give me permission to do so. And so I wanted to ask you how, obviously this dog means a lot to you. And so how is this impacting kind of your life right now?
I think that I'm just so frustrated with having to be here in the first place. I mean, I didn't know anything was going on, and I didn't know that there was going to be a problem with this dog. I mean, I live with the dog and I'm fine. I didn't know it was a problem. I'm frustrated with my niece for not telling me that this was going to be a problem that I was going to be dragged in here for. I've got enough on my plate. I mean, like, there's so much going on, and I've already been struggling to take care of the dog. I didn't even want the dog in the first place, and now I'm like, I love him to death, but this is a lot.
I'm sorry to hear all of that. Can you, from your side, can you understand the frustration potentially of, being, dogs bark, that's just what dogs do.
Yeah.
And that's part of living in a neighborhood. You're gonna hear dogs bark sometimes.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel towards your neighbor about having the complaint and having to be here today?
I understand, you're studying or you're trying to sleep and the dog's barking. I get that. That can be annoying. But I'm kind of like, this is the only place you have to study, and this is the only place that, like, there's 3 other people in that house. Nobody else has complained. Not that I know of. There's, like, you go to school, there's libraries, there's other places you could get some earplugs. I mean, I kind of get the night situation, sleep is necessary, I get that. But as far as the studying, during the day, like, I'll sit outside with the dog, and I mean, no problems that are out there. Like, you've seen me with the dog outside, haven't you? So I wish I would have.
Do you know any reason of why your niece wouldn't share with you about Taylor coming to complain about the dog?
I mean, she might have just been trying to help me not have to think about it, and maybe thought she dealt with it in her own way. I mean, there has been so much going on for me, and I think maybe she was just trying to take the load off and try to not burden me with it.
Is there anything more that you want to share with me about your position and your side, and maybe tell me about, have there been any issues in the past as when it comes to being neighbors?
I mean, it's not like they're quiet. Like, it's not like I'm not having certain issues living next to them. I mean, there's a lot of college kids, and they're noisy and they're loud, like, late into the night on the weekend. So it doesn't seem right that I should be penalized for my noisy dog just when it's inconvenient for you to study. I mean, my only time to rest, I have work. I mean, it's hard enough to get out of bed these days, and the only days that I have to really rest and take a break is on the weekends. But your guys are up all night partying. That's fine, but my dog, who, like, is something that's really special to me, is a problem now that it's your time to focus. It just seems very one-sided and unfair.
Tell me more about the noises you're hearing from your neighbor.
I mean, they're kids, they're throwing parties, they're, you know, they're being loud, obnoxious, whatever. I mean, I get that, they're college students. Besides the fact that it's bringing down my own property values just to have them next door living in these cheap apartments, I mean, I didn't file a complaint, I didn't do anything, I haven't said anything about it, but now I feel like I should have just blocked them from coming in. They're loud, and it's not a problem for me because I understand, and it's not all the time, so I'm fine.
So this is not an issue that you would like me to bring up with Taylor?
I think it would help for him to understand that it's not just me that makes noise. It's not just my dog that makes noise and is annoying to your neighbors. Neighbors are annoying, and they're not always. I don't have to just bow to you because you need it.
So, would you say that the issue is your take on the issue is that you're kind of confused as to why your dog barking is such a problem when
Yeah.
they make loud noise, when your neighbor makes loud noises
Yeah.
at night, and is it your belief that it's just kind of something you have to deal with? And
Yeah, and why is the automatic response for me to go do something about my dog? Like, why aren't you trying to go to a different place to study or go and make other amends? Talking to me about it just once, really, now we're complaining about it to this system. This is just a lot. And I just don't think it was very thoughtful and very considerate of the fact that they make time, or they're loud all the time, and that I'm going through things and I don't have the time to deal with this.
I completely understand. Would you say that there's any other issues or just kind of noisiness on the weekends?
I mean, yeah, it's just noisy on the weekends, and yeah, basically.
I would like us to kind of come up with a couple of ideas. What would be a potential solution to this problem?
I mean, I'm not getting rid of the dog. The dog is staying. I love the dog. It's all I have left to my husband. I'm staying in this house. This was our house. I mean, we've been here before those college kids were in here. I think that best case scenario, I mean, I'd like for just this whole situation to go away and just we get over it. But I think maybe I could, you know, try to do something about the stuff at night, because I understand everybody wants their sleep, but if I'm gonna do that, then what about the weekends, you know? Why am I the only one that has to do something about this?
So possible solutions we're looking at could be going to study somewhere else. What do you think are some solutions with the dog? Like, what could we do with the dog? Whether that's with the dog in a kennel at night, or
Yeah.
what kind of solution do you think is possible when it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, my niece will be leaving soon, so she's not gonna be able to help me as much with the dog, which she doesn't help me all that much right now. I don't keep the dog in. I used to keep him in all the time, which is probably why all of a sudden now there's a problem. But it just became too much. I'm already struggling, and the dog makes a lot of messes in the house, and so just keeping him in the house all the time really wasn't good for him. And I mean, if there was someone to help me out with that, and you know, take him on walks, and, you know, do some things, maybe wear the dog out. I don't have it in me right now.
And you said that this was your husband's dog. If you feel comfortable doing so, do you think you could tell me a little bit more about the dog's relationship with your husband and a little more about what that means to you?
Well, I didn't want a dog at first, but a couple months ago, my husband, he really, really wanted a dog. He was he was such an awesome dog person. He loved animals, and he had a dog growing up, and so he wanted a dog. I mean, he promised he would take care of it, and he'd be the one to do all that stuff. He really, really wanted one. And I mean, I loved him so much, and I mean, we don't have kids or anything, and so I was just like, yeah, we'll get a dog, you know. I didn't think I'd like the dog all that much, but I mean, I do really love that thing. The dog's my best friend. And then, but I wasn't the one that was doing most of the taking care of the dog, because that was what my husband wanted. He wanted to be the one to do all that. And I mean, now that he's gone, I didn't want the dog in the first place, but he's all I got.
I completely understand that. And in your opinion, do you think that if taking the dog on walks and trying to keep it inside more often, would that stop the dog from barking as much? Or
I mean, maybe, yeah. I don't have it in me to do those things right now. I'm like, it's just not something that I'm capable of doing at the moment, which is sad to admit, but there's so many other things going on that's just not my priority at the moment.
And you are, the dog is staying with you though. Is that your stance on that, or is that somewhere you'd be willing to compromise because you are in such a difficult position right now?
Dog it's all I got. I mean, I can't imagine giving the dog up. I mean, my husband loved that dog, and I'm keeping the dog.
Would you consider that's your preference for the outcome, or more of like a hard line?
I would say that's my hard line. I'm not getting rid of that dog.
So I just want to recap on what your issues kind of with this, from what I've gathered on the situation, was you didn't feel like this issue was brought to your attention in probably in the way that you wish it would have.
Mm-hmm.
And there are kind of some mutual noises happening from both sides.
Yes.
And a potential solution to that would be, you know, taking the dog maybe on more walks, or having someone close to you. I know you said your niece is leaving. Taking the dog on more walks and trying to keep it in more. Do you think that there's anything else that could be done, like taking the dog to like a dog park where you don't really have to walk with it, or you can kind of release it to go play, or something along those lines?
I don't know how feasible that is for me at the moment. I mean, I'm trying to work. There's a lot of stuff that I'm having to clean out the house. I'm really just trying to get through this period of my life and see what's next for me. I don't know. I wasn't expecting to be doing this on my own. And so that's a big adjustment.
I know you said that it's a lot of college kids that are coming in and out, and you know, college kids have weird hours. And would you be open to maybe, you know, you are both neighbors at the end of the day, having maybe, if we'd have to see if Taylor would be open to it, but helping you walk the dog and spending time. So he said he loves dogs, and would that be a compromise you would be willing to have someone help you take the dog on walks to kind of get its energy out?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, as long as he's not gonna, you know, do something horrible to my dog because he's so angry that it barks. I think that'd be fine.
Well, thank you so much for being this honest and open with me. Is there anything specifically about what we just talked about that you would like to keep private and confidential to this caucus?
I would probably not like him to know as much about my, you know, struggle with taking care of the dog and just my mental health struggles at the moment. I think I'd like to keep that to myself.
Okay. Yeah, that is strictly between you and I will not share that. And I think now I'm going to have a caucus with Taylor. And so if you'd mind stepping into the hall, and I'll go get Taylor.
Okie doke.
thank you for waiting, and I wanted to remind you that this caucus has a higher level of confidentiality. What you say here is private between you and I will not share it with Casey unless given explicit permission to do so. And I wanted to start off by asking you how this has impacted your kind of daily life.
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, I can't really sleep because the dog's barking all hours of the night. I mean, like I said, I had to go over there at 10:30 at night to knock on the door. So it's interrupting my sleep, which in return, gives me foggy brain throughout the day, so I can't really study. I do work part-time as well, so the lack of sleep's affecting, my work performance too in a way. So it's kind of just affecting every little aspect of my life right now. I've got some big things going on that I'm looking forward to, and it has nothing but a negative effect.
Could you tell me more about your interaction with Casey's niece?
Well, like I said, I went over there at 10:30. I knocked on the door. She opened it. I had never seen her before, so I didn't know who it was. But I mean, I just assumed that if she's opening the door at 10:30 at night, then she may stay there or may frequent there. So I figured the word would get to whoever it needs to get to. And then when I told her that, the dog was barking all hours of the night, I couldn't sleep, and then I asked if she could bring the dog in, and she said no, the dog's not coming inside, and slammed the door in my face.
Have there been any previous instances or issues with your neighbor?
No. I mean, anytime they seem nice to me. Anytime I've ever seen them out and about, I mean, we wave at each other, we say hello. I mean, we've never had any direct communication per se, but anytime we see each other, we wave and say hello to each other.
And so how much do you know about your neighbor? Just very little?
Yeah, very, very little.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, I know they're older. I'm assuming, I would probably guess in their 60s maybe. I don't know that for sure, but they're older.
I know that you're in college, and with college comes kind of like a different schedule and a different phase of life. And when you are not studying for the MCAT or working or at classes, kind of, what do you do for fun at your house, kind of?
I don't really have anybody come over. I mean, I'll go out and do some stuff sometimes and hang out with people, but I don't know. That's really kind of my life right now.
Do you think any of your neighbors would have any complaints about you as a neighbor, or any
I don't think
issues
so.
with you?
I don't think so. I mean, my neighbors, like I said, they're college students, the one that live in the apartments in the same house as me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's separated into 4 apartments, with mine being closest to, their backyard. But I mean, they have little get-togethers and stuff here and there, but...
Would you say your other neighbors are sometimes kind of noisy?
I mean, to an extent, like I said, they're in college too, but it's nothing unbearable. It's not a frequent thing. It's just, occasionally. It's not a every night ordeal.
So it's kind of just every once in a while versus a dog barking at all hours of every day.
Exactly.
Okay. And
I guess what I'm trying to say there is I'm not just this type of neighbor that's just trying to, gripe about everything, complain about everything. It's so frequent with the dog that it's hard to overlook that.
I would like to maybe kind of discuss what possible solutions would look like for you.
Well, like I said, when I called animal control, and when I called animal control, they told me, hey, you may want to try to mediate this first. And they referred me to y'all. And, they said if we can't, reach something there, some type of resolution, then I can call them back and then make a formal complaint. And then at that point, they send an investigator out. If they found the dog to be a nuisance, then they would take custody of the dog. And then there would be an adoption period. If that adoption period lapsed, then they'd euthanize the dog. That's the last thing I want. I do love dogs because, I mean, as I stated earlier, when Casey was in here, I mean, I had a dog, at least one dog growing up my whole life. and we used to foster rescue dogs. So I don't want anything bad to happen to the dog. I mean, especially if she's connected to the dog, you know, she misses her husband, all that stuff. I understand that. That's not what I want out of this. But I want it to be something that benefits both of us and is fair for both of us, because I have to be able to study. I'm investing a lot of time and money in this.
Yeah, I understand. Do you currently have a dog?
No,
You don't?
no. I don't have time for a dog right now, because like I said, I work part-time. I'm in college currently, and then I'm trying to get into medical school, so I just don't really have time.
I know you said your neighbor is a little older than you are, kind of in a different stage of life, and her husband has recently passed. And would you be open to the idea of maybe, you say you love dogs, would you be open to maybe taking the dog on a walk and like kind of getting its energy out and just kind of being neighborly in that way and helping out? Or
I mean, I wouldn't be against it necessarily, but it would have to be something that just fit my schedule,
Yeah.
because I mean, my schedule's tough right now. But I do love dogs. I mean, that may be a good little getaway for me too, a little companionship with a dog, you know, who knows. But at the same time, maybe that make the dog bark even more at night, because then the dog knows I live there and we build a relationship, so that may be even tougher. I don't know, that may be a little catch-22. But I wouldn't be against that idea, but like I said, it just had to fit whenever I could do it.
Are there any alternative places that maybe during the day you could go study at and
Well,
try
like I
something?
said, the barking really isn't, the problem isn't during the day, it's at night. That's when it bothers me, because during the day, I'm either most of the time at class, or like I said, I have a part-time job, and yeah, during the day, I can go somewhere else and study. That wouldn't be an issue. But at night time, when I'm needing to study and sleep to be prepared for the next day, and the dog's barking all night, that's where the true issue comes into play there.
What is your part-time job?
Well, right now, I'm working at TJ Maxx.
Oh, okay. I like TJ Maxx. So the main issue for you is making sure that you're getting enough sleep at night and that the dog is quieter during sleeping hours.
Right, because I mean, to me, it's not about the quantity of, you know, studying or sleeping. It's about the quality of it.
About the quality.
And the way the dog barks all the time, it diminishes the quality.
What time would you say you typically go to bed and wake up?
Well, with everything I have going on, I'm not able to get a whole lot of sleep, which is why the quality of sleep is important to me. So on a good night, you know, probably 10:30ish, and then I get up around, you know, 5:30 in the morning to get my day started.
Would it maybe work if a solution that would work for you would be if at a certain time of night the dog gets brought inside? And
Yeah, that was my suggestion to the niece, was, hey, can you take the dog inside?
Yeah.
And no, and slam the door in my face. So
is the niece slamming the door in your face kind of what prompted your phone call to animal control?
not the act itself, no. But I just felt like at that point, okay, obviously nobody's willing to listen to me, so I just felt like I didn't have another option at that time.
I felt a little disrespected and
It's not really even disrespected. I mean, I felt like I tried to address the situation the best way I knew to at the time, with, you know, very minimal conflict, and I just felt like she didn't want to hear a word I had to say, so I just didn't feel like I had another option at that point but to take a step further. I mean,
sorry, let's sneeze. Nope, it went away. Okay, sorry, that was horrible. Okay. Is there anything that you've told me during our caucus that you really do not want you want to keep confidential?
honestly, no. I mean, I didn't say anything that I don't feel like I would say to her myself, so
Okay.
there's no disrespect to her about it. She's always been nice to me, waving and saying hello.
Okay, so would you be comfortable if I brought?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll go. appreciate you both taking the time to be honest and very forthcoming in our caucus sessions. And I know each person has had a little bit of time to think. And is there anything else that you would like to share with each other or with me that we haven't covered yet?
No?
I mean, I'll say this. We've always waved at each other and said hello in passing. We've never had a face-to-face conversation like we have today. And it's no disrespect to you. I'm not aggravated with you as a person or anything like that in general.
Okay.
You've always been a good neighbor to me, and hopefully I've been the same to you. And I'd like to continue that neighborly relationship. Like I said, my only issue is the dog just barking all night. That's it. I don't want any type of hate or discontent amongst us. I just want to be able to move forward as happy neighbors and get along peacefully.
Yeah,
For you to have your dog.
Thank you. I think that's partly why I was so put off by having to come in here, is because I didn't realize we were on bad terms, but it is good to know that we're not. I will say that I get that the dog can be annoying, but I mean, neighbors can be annoying, and it's not like college students are all that quiet, especially on the weekends. So I'm just having trouble seeing the difference really between, my dog and, the loud parties that end up getting thrown. I know you yourself might not be the one throwing the parties, but I mean.
Well, that's something that's not in my control. My apartment and my domain is all that's in my control. Your dog's in your control.
So,
I can't control what neighbors can do.
So I want to jump in here and say, it appears that the main issue here today is noises that are just going to happen that can be heard, but maybe going forward, everyone trying their best to just limit the impact that it has on each other, because there's been an impact on Taylor, and the dog is important to you, and that is something that you have a connection with, and which is very reasonable. And so the main issue going forward is, how are we going to mitigate the noisiness of the dog, and maybe how we are going to communicate with each other about issues going forward. Would that be a fair summary?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I missed that you would also like to add?
I think I'm just a little confused on, maybe how much the dog is impacting you, and like what other avenues you've gone through to try to, like, on your part, like, get around that. I mean, because I get, whenever you came to talk to me, it wasn't my niece, so like that's her fault, like, for not telling me and not letting me know about it, which obviously is a hurdle. But I get at night that's keeping you up. I get that you're trying to do something, you're studying a lot, but why is it you're only studying at the house? Like, are there not libraries? Are there not other ways to get around that, like during the day and other times?
Well, during the day, but no, not at night.
Yeah.
And even if there is a 24-hour library that I can access, why can't I be comfortable in my own home at night?
I would like to interrupt and say, maybe we missed part of the issue, is that it's not the barking during the day that's necessarily a problem, it's the barking at night.
Mm-hmm.
And would that be a
That's
fair
very
statement?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I guess maybe we should shift our focus to looking at how we can lessen the impact of the dog barking at nighttime.
Can I just throw a suggestion out there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like I suggested to your niece, just at nighttime bring the dog inside.
But the problem with that is that, well, one, right now, my niece is also living with me, so it's tighter space. Two, bringing the dog in at night also ends up being very hard on me, because then I have to get up and take the dog out, and I have to get up multiple times during the night to take the dog out. But also I have to deal with the mess that the dog potentially makes. and I'm just not in a position to be doing that all the time at the moment.
Well, let me ask you this: would it be a fair statement to say that, you know, you said your niece is going to be leaving soon
Mm.
again, right? So it's just going to be you and your beagle,
Yes.
right? And I know the dog means a lot to you, but based on what you're telling me, and this is in no way disrespectful to you,
Mm.
but that maybe the dog's too much for you to handle on your own, and maybe I can help you, because I do love dogs too. Maybe I can help you find a better suited place for the dog, or
The dog's not leaving.
well,
It's
see, the thing is, and when I contact animal control, and I want to remind you, this is the last thing I want, because I had a dog growing up. I want to reiterate this: at least one dog, my whole life, and we took in foster dogs too, rescue dogs.
okay.
Okay, last thing I want. All right, and I'd even be willing to every now and then, if I have a moment, because my schedule is really busy, to come over there and take the dog on a walk for a little while or something, maybe 30 minutes or something. Maybe it'd be good for me too, honestly, get away from studies and stuff every now and then. Maybe. But that doesn't solve the problem with the dog barking at night, and you're saying you can't bring the dog in. And I have spoke with animal control, and they said that if there's no issue that can be, no resolution that can be made between us, then they can come out and investigate it. And then if they find that the dog's a nuisance, then they take custody of the dog, and
I'd like to reel us back in a little bit and kind of focus on what we're doing here today, which is we're trying to avoid that. And that is a step in the process that may happen, but how would it feel to maybe, you say one of your issues is that you're unable to, it's tough for you to get up in the middle of the night and take the dog out, take the dog in and out. Would it maybe be possible for a dog door to be put in and for the dog to be able to go in and out as it,
Yeah.
would that be something that would
But-
help you?
But who's gonna pay for that? Why am I incurring all of the risk or not risk, the responsibility? I'm not bothered by the dog. You're bothered because of your particular circumstances, but nobody else in the house has complained, and they're all living in that house. I haven't gotten a complaint from the landlord. I mean,
they're not studying for medical
Yeah.
school though.
but it's not my problem that you're studying for medical school.
So the issue here is that is that, you know, there needs to be a solution that works for everyone.
Well,
And so that is something that we will need to discuss further, and how this dog impacts both of your lives, and how we can successfully keep the dog and also lessen the noise it makes, and see what we can do with that during our next phase, which is negotiations.
well, I just want to say this real fast. Obviously, I'm trying to bend a little bit here. I mean, I'm even telling you that I'm willing to come take your dog every now and then when I have time for a walk or something. Maybe that's good for the dog to get out and exercise a little bit with someone. And I know that you may not be able to do that as well as you used to be able to. So I'm trying to give a little bit here, and I feel like it has to be both ways. We both have to be willing to give a little bit.
Okay, I understand that. I think, I mean, if your main concern is really the stuff that is happening at night, I mean, then maybe taking the dog out all the time, because you do have a limited schedule, maybe that's not the best avenue to go. I mean, maybe it is the door thing, but then how, like, I can't install that right now. I don't know how. I'm not hiring anyone to do that. Like,
Well, what about this then? I happen to be a little bit handy around the house.
okay.
If you can buy the doggy door, then I can install it for you.
Okay.
Like I said, my prerogative here is not to make your life miserable or the dog's life miserable. It's to come to a solution that best benefits both of us.
Okay.
I think we've made some really good progress, and I appreciate you both. But I think we need to take a break for a little bit, and we can come back, and that's when we can start our negotiations and really nail down a potential resolution for this issue.